Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm here with my boy Max. What's going on, Max? How you doing?
Nothing much, man. Just been busy. How's everything with you?
Hey, man. Can't really complain. It's been kind of hectic, but things are pretty good. Um, really just been watching a lot of football. Enjoying the football season, which is
We got
crazy
the
to say.
game tomorrow.
Yeah, hey, we're friends. We're friends right now, but tomorrow, I don't
I
know.
just thought about it. I was like, yeah, we got that game tomorrow. That's gonna
Yeah,
be interesting.
all bets are off. Like I said, we're friends now, but tomorrow, I don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at it. I see you got the hoodie on and everything. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah. 7-6, man. I don't know how it happened, but we're here.
Well, we should have lost last game, but it is what it is. So
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, so we got a couple people in the house right now. We got Lisa. What's up? How's it going?
hey,
Chrome.
how's it going?
And yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about like 2024 TVs, and I'm gonna kind of put a bow on 2023 as well. Though I'm gonna do a full show based on that later. But kind of just what we expected to see in 2023 if we saw it, um, and what do we expect for 2024. So I guess like one of the best ways to do it is to kind of recap, right? Like, what did we go into the year expecting from CES 2023, and was all of that delivered? So like at this time last year, we weren't really talking about MLA because it wasn't really something we thought was going to be possible in 2023. So that was a nice surprise at CES. We thought it was going to be a year late, and it ended up being there. Um, so a lot of the rumors that you might hear coming in 2025, hey, maybe it comes in 2024. We see some surprises in at CES. You never know. Um, these companies just like to rush things out sometimes, and if it's ready, it'll be there. A lot of speculation for sure that can go into that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. I know the article that you sent over. I was reading it
Yeah.
earlier and I was like, huh, we'll see. We'll see what happened on CES and stuff. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
we'll get into that
interesting
article
stuff.
a little bit. Yeah, we'll get into that article a little bit. So, um, I guess the biggest thing I want to say about my takeaway for this year is that you kind of have LG kind of in this spot where you have MLA, and that's what everybody wants, right? From LG, and that's the biggest problem that I think LG has right now is the C series is not really desirable because at the same price point you can get QD OLED, and QD OLED is obviously a great technology. They use it in what is arguably what most people think the best TV of the year in the A95L, and there's a reason why that's using QD OLED. So the fact that you can get the same panel for the same price as a C series TV, so it boggles my mind why somebody would want to go with a C3 over an S90C, for example. And that's why I think like LG is kind of in this tough situation where a lot of people are expecting them to bring MLA to the C series, but I'm not. And the reason why I'm not expecting that is because otherwise the G series is just dead. If you bring MLA to the C series, you've killed the G series on arrival, you know? Um, there is rumors of like a potential Meta 2.0, MLA 2.0, where you get like 3,000 nits out of the TV, which was part of the article, and we'll discuss that a little bit. But if that happens, and I guess you could bring 1.0, the first generation, to the C series, but I don't see them doing that either way. I really think that they're just going to reserve MLA for the G series. It's a reason to upgrade. It's something that people are desiring a lot. And when you hear about the G series, all you hear about is brightness, and I think that's what it's going to stay at. You know, and C series is going to be like your entry into OLED. And I think what they're going to push this year, not to kind of rant, but like I'm going to say that like the biggest thing I see them pushing this year is going to be processing, right? We already kind of heard rumors of the Alpha 10 processor, the newest generation processor for them. You know, they've been on Alpha 9 for a while. They've just been implementing different generations and then little improvements here and there. So they've been getting a new processor every year, but this is going to be a new processor generation. So I think they're going to make a big deal out of that. A lot of like a big deal out of some AI stuff too, I believe. That's what I think their focus is going to be on with the C series. And so I really think like, you know, C4, if it doesn't have MLA, people are going to be disappointed, but I have no idea. I don't expect it. I do not expect MLA. I'd be shocked if it had MLA. So yeah. What do you think? Do you think the C series has a chance to have MLA, or what's your thoughts on that?
I think so because I it seemed like it's always anything that the G series have 1 year it goes down to the C series and then so forth. I think for them to really compete with Samsung displays, I think they don't I don't think they have a choice and stuff. So, and especially just like the S90C, that seemed like a huge hit because everybody's getting that TV instead of a C3. I mean, I like the C3, but I already knew that the Samsung was going to win this
Mhm.
year just because the price and then the QOLED technology, and it's just one of those things that 144 hertz and well, yeah, 144 hertz is just like one of those things that it it drives a lot of customers, even though they have some issues with it. But it's still that was just one of the things that people gravitated towards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like we're starting to see signs of there not being MLA in the C series. I believe Vincent hinted at there not being MLA in the C series, but he only said that, you know, based on the reflective coating. They've since updated that a little bit on their website where they're doing like the certification tests. And even if you look really closely at it, I still don't see that red tint that goes on with the reflective coating for MLA based OLEDs, like the G3, for example, has this like red tint, kind of similar to what you would see in like the QD OLED. They have a very similar anti-reflective coating, and I'm not seeing that with the C series, the C4 pictures that have been out there. And you know, that's just hard to say though. I mean, like I could just be seeing it from a different angle. Um, but they did change the anti-reflective coating on the C series to a degree, so I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I'm still not seeing that same like reflection. Um, so that's where I don't think we're gonna see the C series. But I just think that it like economically, where it sits in their lineup, it does not make sense because the moment that they put MLA on a C series, they've kind of just like crushed the G series. So like a reason to upgrade to the G series, I don't see it. Like I think that it's not something that I'm going to expect for the C series at all.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. I mean, that 2.0 may go into G series where they're going to push the brightness that people are looking for. I don't know. Yeah, I think everything's going to trickle down to the C4 and stuff. And the
Mhm.
C4 is probably going to get that 144 hertz that Samsung's is crushing on, even though it has issues with it. A lot of people said they had issues with the gaming side, but um, if they provide that 144 hertz for the gamers, I think I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we gotta wait and see
Yeah,
and stuff. And then the price too. I think that's one of the biggest question mark. Is like what are they going to charge for the C4? Because
right.
if it's going to be the same price as the S90D, then yeah, they're going to end up losing again and stuff. So
Yeah,
they have to price it right.
yeah, and I think that's a great point. Like I think the price does matter a lot in the discussion because that was my biggest takeaway with the S90C last year is I was like, how is this TV the same price as the C series? Why would anybody want to buy a C series TV when you have the S90C with QD OLED technology? And people can make arguments back and forth about it, but it's just like I don't see a reason why you would choose the lesser technology. I mean, there's reasonings for you to pick LG over Samsung. There's reasonings for all of these things for most people, right? They have their own reasons. But if we look at it from just a whole pure just technology standpoint, you're getting newer technology for the same price as the older technology. So it's like I don't see a reason why they should be the same price. And I think LG should consider cutting the price, if not by like $100 or $200. Just undercut the S90. Like that's what you got to do. I think
Oh,
that's
I was about
going
to
to
say
get the
500.
best. Oh wow, that would be a crazy amount. That'd
Yeah, I
be
was
a
about to
cra
say five. I say if you do like $500, I think that will really will push their TVs, but I don't think they'll do that though.
Yeah, that would be a wild price cut. But yeah, no, I think far and away, like my takeaway again for the year was most people in that price bracket should be buying an S90C, and a lot of people agree with me on this. I know Classy put it as his best value TV. Um, I've not found too many creators or too many people who review TVs that would argue with the point that you should just get a S90C over a C3. You know, so that's the biggest challenge for LG this year, as I think they're really kind of behind the eight ball when it comes down to there's QD OLED staring them right in like the face at that price bracket. And so at the higher end, if they do introduce a new MLA technology 2.0, say this is a thing, right? Let's say 3000 nits, that's an actual possibility. Then I think, they can get people excited because brightness always gets people excited, right? Those numbers, even if they are inflated, even if they are, you know, on vivid mode, people still get excited when they hear those 3000 nit numbers. So I think they're going to generate a lot of excitement if that is the case for the G series. Will it happen? I'm not really sure. Right now, that's a rumor that AV Caesar has out there that Meta 2.0 could be in the roadmap for 2024. And to AV Caesar's credit, they did have a very similar article last year around this time with MLA. And a lot of people were like, I didn't expect MLA. So that's a possibility. They could have some sources, but we don't have any confirmation on any of this stuff yet. So just take everything that we're saying as rumors and speculation, because there's no confirmation, of course. So yeah, I mean, C4 is probably the one that I think a lot of people are going to have high hopes for MLA. I don't expect it again. And then G4, that's the one I'm excited about the most if they are going to make that change, that step up, right? Because I really love, I'll be honest with you, I love the G3 a lot, and I think that it hits a certain um, niche of audience that is usually not catered to by LG, and I think that's kind of a cool thing that when you really want to push the TV um, kind of in a more wild mode, I would say something that's not an accurate mode, you can really push the TV past where you can get a Samsung TV without looking just completely ugly. Like I couldn't match the G3 in terms of the brightness with the S95C. Um, because I would have to use like contrast enhancer and stuff, and I would be destroying more details on the Samsung than I would on the LG. So like I really liked where I could push the LG to, and this is more of like a personal thing, how I felt about the TV. And so like for that kind of scenario, I would say the LG G3 is the more desirable TV for me than the S95C in that situation. But when you throw gaming in the mix, I think that's where LG has to get better. They have to get better at the gaming, man, because I've made those videos comparing the G3 to the S90C to the S95C, and even the G3 game mode on compared to the C3 game mode off. And the fact that the C3 with game mode off looks better than the G3 with game mode on, that's a big problem to me, because when you have both of them game mode off and you compare them, it's far and away the G3 is the better TV. So LG has to do something with their game mode, I think, and processing it in general. So the alpha processor, the Alpha 10, if that's a thing, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, if they doing a new processor, I kind of hope that Samsung and Sony do the same thing as well too. But yeah, we'll see and stuff. I think that was like the biggest issue that I had with the C3 was the SDR gaming. And
Mhm.
uh other than that, it would just like if it's price and then the pricing too, because it's like when it's priced similar to the S90C, S90C is kind of like, yeah, it's like a no-brainer. You might as well just go with the S90C because it's going to be better technology, and you pretty much have everything that you're looking for as in value-wise when it comes to that TV. So we'll see what LG is going to do for next year, and hopefully we're just wrong about it and they end up doing something crazy and exciting.
Yeah. Um, I really hope they do something crazy and exciting because, I love going to CES, and I just wanted to like say again, I will be at CES. Um, that is going to be a thing. I already have my trip booked, and I'm excited to go. It was exciting last year. It was fun last year. This year, I plan to do a lot more than I did last year. Um, I'm gonna try to do more on-site things. Maybe I'll do a live stream from the event, like every day, hopefully. Um, if it warrants it, like if there's enough news to push out, then it'll be a fun little live streams we can do, at least maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes a day or something like that. So that would be really cool. And then I want to do more reaction based videos because last year I had to wait until I got home for some of them. I did some reaction based videos, but I didn't do as much as I wanted to because, yes, editing videos while in Vegas was a tough thing, but I can make it happen. I can make it work, and so I'm gonna do more reaction based content. Maybe not as much editing this time, and just kind of like a face cam on me talking about what I seen, what I understand, like what I'm looking forward to. I think that stuff is going to be more what I want to do with CES content this year because I think reacting and reaction based content on like what you're hearing, what's being announced is more important than actual like content of the TVs themselves or content of the event itself. Because people are excited and they want to hear about your take on what's been announced. So I'm gonna try to bring that to you guys this year, and yeah, hopefully we won't have any issues with that. But yeah, let's move on. Talk about what we expect from Samsung. You know, um, you mentioned the processing. Like, will they be introducing a new processor? I think that's a really good question. Last year we saw that the new neural quantum processor that was in the S95B got carried over to the S90C and the S95C. So pretty much that was like a carryover processor. Now it it's a good question to ask because they do seem to update the processor like every 2 years, um, sometimes every 3 years. It really just depends. But what would we want to see in a new processor from Samsung? Is it more technology based? Is it improvements with like low bit rate, things like that? What would you like to see from a Samsung processor?
For me, is the detail. I mean, I did like the S95C. I thought it was a really great TV. It was just one thing that I felt that as in when it comes to comparing it with the Sony TV, I just noticed that the detail was there, but it wasn't as what I wanted to see from the S95C. So I wish they had like a um, something that they could work on with that. When it comes to Black Crush, I felt they did a really good job with that. There is still like a little bit on it, but compared to the S95B, it's like
Mhm.
it was a good drastic difference. They hit a home run with this with the S95C, which I think they did a really good job in improvements.
Mm.
The only thing besides the detail is hopefully they'll fix that issue with the 4K 120. Excuse me, not
All
4K
right, yeah.
120, 4K 144 hertz. I know people was having issues with that because it was like the thing is that I think it was the 40 gigabit and not the full bandwidth HDMI 2.1 that there was that people were claiming about.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
I think it's more so. Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
I just want to clear it up. So the thing with that is, it's less about, it's not even about the 40 gigahertz gigabit bandwidth or versus 48. It's not about that. It's more about the one connect box, and this has been a problem on every TV that's one connect box based. I have heard it being problems with Neo QLED 8Ks. So this is something that there is issues with dropouts, and it's not necessarily tied to 144 hertz either. I've heard this dropout happen in 60 hertz. Now there could be a separate issue going on that people report with 144 hertz, because I've heard some people even with the S90C at 144 hertz have had some issues. But this could be tied to, graphics cards issues like drivers, things like that. I'm not really sure. But that is a good question. It is a good like comment about like 144 hertz. Maybe we can tighten that up a little bit so there's not issues with that. But I just wanted to clear up like the whole 40 gigahertz gigabits per second. I said you know what I mean.
yeah,
The 40
yeah. I know you're
gigabits
talking.
per second of bandwidth versus 48. That's not really the issue here. I got the super chat
Yes,
from
chat.
Travis Sylvania. Thank you. Appreciate that, Travis Sylvania. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Hi, I need to get a 55-inch for the living room. Thinking of getting the C3 just because I don't want it damaged in shipping. My S90B was damaged. Headache. Is Super Bowl weekend still the best time to buy? So the best time to buy, I would say, is like as soon as you can if it's on sale. I like to comp prices to Black Friday prices, and that would be if it's sitting at a Black Friday price right now, it's a good time to buy. If you're waiting for Super Bowl prices to get lower than Black Friday prices, I'm sorry, but that's likely not going to happen. It usually doesn't. Typically, we do see just a rollover of Black Friday prices during Super Bowl weekend. So I would say just use a site like Camel, and compare the prices to what it was on November. Gosh, I don't remember what it was. November 24th. I don't even know what Black Friday was this year, but compare it to the Black Friday prices and see there what it was. Um, yeah, and then we'll go from there, right? So, but I think the whole thing with the S90 series, I'm guessing you meant S95B was damaged. I haven't heard many issues with the S90C getting dinged up. Um, I know I had a shipping issue, but that was more so just like the dude probably just like ran a forklift into it at the warehouse. Like it was like
Yeah,
one of those
I,
situations.
I was one of them, but that was with the QN 900 B
Yeah.
with mine. So yeah, they had a forklift, and you could see the damage on that,
Yeah.
and it still
So
delivered it.
I don't know why they do that.
Mm.
But yeah, people in the comments and then chat can talk about, have you guys had any issues if you got the S90C this year? Any shipping issues? Any bends? Because like I haven't heard the panel being bent. Regardless, I mean, it looks very similar to the S95B, but I've heard no complaints really about the S90C getting damaged. So I still think your best bet is to go S90C. It's like a much better TV than the C3. So that's where I would go with it. And if you're not really gaming and you're looking for something more for like movie watching, TV shows, 55-inch, like look at the A75L right now. I believe that's still on sale, and that's just a screaming deal at the 55-inch size. Yeah, so the A75L, I don't know if it's still on sale, but definitely look into that.
Yeah, let me look at
And
that right now.
yeah. But yeah, it is definitely less complaints. I haven't heard anybody say like we're having issues with the S90C. So the S95B definitely had bent panel issues, but I think it was more from the factory than in shipping. I don't know exactly how to explain it. I know Best Buy had to get rid of a lot of them because of this bent issue. And one of the reasons why they made the S94. Um, So
Yeah, it's still on sale. So
yeah,
65 inches, 1,500, and then the 55 is 11.99. So
right. So yeah, the 55-inch A75L. Is that TV only available in America? It might be. Yeah, it's a good question.
oh
Um,
yeah, that is a good question. Yeah.
yeah. But the A75L is pretty much the same thing as the A80L. So if you're looking at either of those TVs, it works. I just mentioned the A75L because he said 55 inches, and the A75L is exclusively only 55 and 65 inches. So that's the route I would go. The only real downside is like you're missing on some sound quality a little bit there, and no built-in mic. Most people don't care about that, and the stand is a little bit different. But yeah.
Yeah, they try to cut costs or wherever they can.
Yeah. I would suggest people in the chat not to feed the trolls. Like I see a lot of comments back
Yeah,
and forth at
yeah.
these people. Uh, but yeah, if it gets too
Yeah,
out
we're
of
just trying
hand,
to have fun.
just go ahead and ban them, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Where are we at with this? So we're talking about Samsung and the processing. I think overall, when it comes down to Samsung and processing, I think it's mostly like people want to see improvements to low bit. I'd also like to see improvements to this whole like BT 2020 color gamut where you are. I hope that they like make the TV ship in that, because like the way that it works now is it's on auto and you switch it to BT 2020. You got some colors looking better, but some skin tones are looking a little too red, things like that. So it's like I'm not the biggest fan of the way that they do it with the auto versus other companies where when you do auto, it's just gonna like auto select the color gamut that's being used there. So if you do a Sony on auto and you're playing something that's in Rec 2020, you're going to get that. If you're playing something on an LG, you're going to get exactly that. With the Samsung, it's like it's stuck in the DCI, and I think that's not a great thing. And I wish that would change. So I'm hoping that they hear enough complaints on that, and they're going to change that. But it wouldn't hold my breath. Like I don't expect large changes like that to happen. So a lot of menu based content, like I wish there was more menu options on the Samsung TVs. I think that would be really cool. Um, there's definitely more settings to tweak on, say, like a Sony or even an LG than what you can tweak on a Samsung. Like Samsung's got like a few settings and that's it, right? So like I do wish they had more settings to tweak. Um, so that's one thing that I'm hopeful for, but I'm not expecting it. Like we're talking about hopes and dreams now. Like that would be more of my dream. Like hopefully they change up the UI. Let's get rid of this whole like Tizen thing that they got going on right now. Like I like Tizen, but like let's change it a little bit. Let's maybe redesign the menu system a little. Maybe even add something to the controller to make it a little bit more easier to navigate because I think that's a pain point for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was looking at comment from Classy. I know Classy did a video not too long ago about how Samsung does the BT 2020 and stuff. So I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I don't think Samsung will change that. So,
Yeah.
but you never know. Well, when it comes to the menu part and the settings, I hope they change and add more settings to it for when it comes to picture settings. That would be nice because when you had the option to toggle with the HDR portion of it, I think it was just yeah, that was a pretty good thing. What Samsung did, and yeah, the Tizen always been terrible to me. I know
Mm.
people said otherwise, but I just felt that Tizen always been clunky about it, and I wish they just redesign it and have easier options to get from one area to another. That's kind of like my only request from them.
Right. Yeah. Um, and I agree. Like I hope they change that. Buddy Love coming through with a nice super chat. Thank you, Buddy Love. Appreciate that. It's good to see you. Happy to see
Oh,
the band back together. Hope you and Max have been well. Cheers.
oh yeah.
Man,
No, I
appreciate
appreciate it.
that.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. We'll try to do more of this and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's always good to be on a stream with you, Max. And like I've explained, I think doing streams with other people is great. Like I always love doing that. So yeah, it's better than solo. I did one solo for Black Friday. Did you watch it? I don't know if you've seen it. I was like
yeah, I was
losing my
watching
breath
some of
and
it. Oh no, it's hard because you're looking
I
at
was coming
comments
off
and
of
then you
COVID,
had
bro.
topics. Oh yeah, you was telling me about that. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just like coming up with topics and then you're looking at the chat session too, so you're trying to monitor that at the same time. So yeah, it's challenging. Some people were like, "No, you did a good job" and stuff. So
Appreciate
it's
it.
challenging. Yeah, anybody would have some difficulties doing that by themselves.
Yeah, like if FOMO did a stream by himself, some of those 5-hour streams, he'd be dead. Like so good thing he has co-hosts on that one. Um I tell him that all the time. I'm like, man, don't do solo streams. It's a bad idea. Um so it's good to have a co-host. Like I said, when I had Classy co-hosting, that was a blast, and when you co-host, that's a blast. So yeah, man, it's always fun. Um
Yeah, it's always great to have everyone there and stuff. So just make everything more lively.
yeah.
But yeah, but going back to the Samsung, and then that
Mhm.
remote control too. TV remote is good, but if they, I will say it again, if they have an input button, I get that people say there's workaround where they have to do whatever the double tap, whatever the case is. Just yeah, just put an input button on there. That's all I really ask for.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at all these spots right there, and then,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man.
They have options to do it and stuff. I
Yeah, what's
just
crazy
do
is they
it.
had it like on the was it the QN90A? I think even the QN90A had it. Well, maybe not. I know the Q90T definitely had just a better menu system.
Yeah.
Such a better menu system.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm just looking at this because I could still got the I got the Sony remote. It's like, yeah, just put the input button right there. That's it. That's all
yeah,
you need. That's all you need.
exactly, man. It's crazy. I don't
And then
know.
it would be nice if it lights up too.
Yeah,
Um, that would be a nice little feature too.
I
That's
guess
just
for this kind of design, you don't really need it to light up because you kind of just like remember
yeah.
everything. But yeah, a backlit would be nice, especially on something more premium.
I mean, if they have it solar and stuff like that, I don't know
That's
why they
true.
just add
Yeah, like
the light feature to it. Why not? And then it would be nice if you lose your remote. I mean, I got this little speaker right here just in case if something were to happen or I can't find a remote. You could do the little auto detect. So that would be nice if they throw that in there too. I don't know. That would be just a nice little feature to have.
yeah. So the S89C, I don't know. Like this this isn't, something that I haven't really discussed much, but the S89C is confirmed to be QD OLED. Like it is definitely QD OLED. We have reports now, we even have a ratings review out there with it saying yes, it's QD OLED. So the pixel structure was already looked at. I talked about this a couple weeks ago on stream. So yeah, the S89C is definitely QD OLED.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least
I
in the
think
US. I don't know about other regions, but at least in the US. Like the S89C is an exclusive model from Best Buy. It is only available in the 77-inch size, and I just wanted to say that before. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no. I was just gonna go back to the Samsung because I was just thinking about besides updates. I don't know. I think this might be a pipe dream. If they could come up with a bigger size, which I know they probably wouldn't, it would be
Mhm.
nice if they could get the QD OLED to like the 83-inch, 85-inch, or 88-inch TV because I think that really would drive home for people who want bigger sized TVs. But that's going to be kind of hard. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. But
Mhm.
That would be nice to have.
And make it bigger so it fits in the Getty G man's hands. It's true. It's really small. It is a really tiny remote.
Yeah.
Um,
So let's
let's
talk about
see.
Sony. I guess that's the
Let's
next
talk about
question too.
a small remote. Look at this Bose remote. I'm reviewing the Ultra soundbar right now. Oh god. Oh god. It's still. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even
so
get the
it's so
plastic
reflective.
stuff off of it. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't even take the plastic off. I'm like, oh, I'm not even gonna take the plastic off of this. Yeah. But it's like, stop making small remotes. That remote is so small. It's tiny. So they like weird. I think just kind of said what we said about QD OLED. I don't expect like a third generation QD OLED. I mean, if it does happen, I don't expect like a huge revelation with it or anything like that. I don't expect much better than the S90C, S95C. Maybe they make some improvements. Like I said, I think you made a big point with processing. Like maybe we see that because this might be a year where they have to do something like that to get people excited. Otherwise, like how do you get people excited for the S90D or the S95D? You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a little bit tougher if they're not implementing some sort of technology improvement. So yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think they may. Well, they're gonna have to push. They're probably gonna push the brightness as well on those TVs because I remember when they was claiming like the two. I know Samsung Displays was claiming the whole 2000 nits portion of it. So and then the Samsung S95C didn't even achieve that. So maybe next year they may get close to those numbers or maybe above that. So here's hoping to that.
right.
And who knows, they may put some type of um like updated or version 3.0 technology of QD OLED that we didn't even really think about, or they probably have in their back of their pockets that they haven't revealed yet, just like the rumor MLA 2.0. So maybe they might have something. So who's to say?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, who was to say what's going to be revealed? And I'm really hoping there's surprises, man. Because right now I'm not hearing a lot. I'm not hearing a lot from that standpoint. Sony is not really going to be showing too much at CES. I think they're going to be no show for TVs, um, as far as that goes. But you know, you might hear something. You might hear something. I would just keep
They're probably
my
gonna be doing their
ears
thing.
open just in case. Yeah. So, but like, let's talk about Sony. I think you know. Actually, before we go to Sony, let's talk about Neo QLED because I know there's still people that wanted to hear about Neo QLED, not just OLED. So Neo QLED, I think does have an improvement on its horizon, right? Like I think it's easier to push brightness in an LCD than it is for an OLED, unless you are going to make really big technology improvements. So I could expect to see some higher brightness Neo QLEDs being pushed out there. I know the QN95C was like really hyped up. Um, Ended up being kind of let down in a way. I kind of hope they get rid of that. Like I kind of hope they don't do a QN95C because it was just such an odd product. It had a weird reflective layer on it, anti-reflective coating on it. For whatever reason, I don't know if it was for viewing angles or what. But Classy saw one and was very disappointed by it. I trust Classy, so anytime he says something about a TV, you know, I can really, I can give it, you know, what it's worth. Like I take Classy's value very highly. Sorry, opinion. I value Classy's opinion very highly when it comes down to stuff like that. Um, so when he tells me something like that is off, you know, I believe him. And then I heard other people comment that, you know, the QN95C is not much different than the QN90C in all actuality. It looks very similar. So yeah, that was a disappointment because there was a lot of pre CES hype about that TV. You know, it's like it's gonna be super bright. all this stuff, but nothing really delivered. So that was a disappointment. Um, as far as like the rest of Neo QLED lineup can go, I think the 8K is always cool to see at CES, but it's like not practical. Nobody's going to really want to buy 8K at this time. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
it's
gonna be
still
tough.
got ways. Yeah, it's still gonna be probably ways away until they do something with the formatting of streaming. But I mean, going back to Samsung mini LED TVs, I mean, they could always improve when it comes to the processing and the local dimming algorithm. So it's always option from there. I don't think it's the zone counts is the issue. I think it's just more of a processing, and then the panel seemed like that's the issue as well too. If they could just
Mhm.
improve on those three things, I think that's something that people will be happy with. But who's to say when it comes to Samsung? Because it seemed like they're putting all their money now towards QD OLED technology, which it was the other way around, where they was putting all their money on the mini LED and 8K TV. So who's to say?
Yeah, their marketing went heavy into OLED this year, which a lot of people were surprised by. I was not, because like man, I told you like I loved the S95B last year, and I still don't see why people are saying like buy a C2 over it last year. I still don't ever get that. But yeah, I knew QD OLED was going to be pushed because it's just it's kind of like the combination of OLED and LCD. It's like you get kind of both, right, in one technology. And I think that's just something that people will eat up once they see it. And I think that's why everybody loves the S90C and everybody likes the S95C. Picture quality wise, it's the one to get. You know, the S90C is going to be the one to get. Like that's kind of one of the things I think when going back to OLED for Samsung, I thought it was sort of a mistake to separate the two. To have an S90C and an S95C and then use first generation in some of the panels. And maybe that's why they did it, because they wanted to sell the rest of their first generation. Like maybe that's why they did it, because they had an excess amount of first generation still. So maybe this year we don't separate them. Um, but it just makes so much sense for them, like their bottom line, I guess, to separate them and have a higher end model. But I don't know. It's not something that I would set in stone. I would expect maybe not to be shocked if there's only one model of OLED or of QD OLED, right? And maybe they made some investments into WOLED, and they'll like have the S85D or something like that, and have that be the WOLEDs and sell that at a much cheaper price. Because I don't know if people are really gonna buy into like, all right, everything is going to be second generation QD OLED now, unless there's a third generation QD OLED, right? Then what are they
Yeah.
going to really bank on people buying the S95D for? Because it's really just about like the one connect box, the upgrade there. It's like it goes back to the conversation that I had about the QN95 B a few years ago. It's like, who's buying this? Like the only the people that want to mount it on their like wall and like have slightly better sound. Um and have that infinity bezel. Like that's the only thing I can think of like for that market. So when we go back to like S95 versus S90, if they're using the same panel, why would you pay for the more expensive one?
Yeah, that's gonna be well, they could do the same thing as what Sony did. It's like they only have the top tier as the QD OLED, and then the other ones would be the um, LG display, OLED screen, the
Mm-hmm.
RGB OLED. So I don't know. It's like right now we're when it comes to technology wise, it seemed like we have everything at the moment. When it comes to future wise, the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that I'm thinking that they could improve on is the processor. But I don't. even if they do like the S95D as in like, oh, we got the latest processor, and then the S90D will have a lesser processor. I don't know if people still gonna go for that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's just like there's no new technology or new features that I can see over the horizon that's saying like, oh, I got to get this. I got to get this. Everything now is just kind of like a incremental upgrades, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's like this year might be more of a hey, look at my processor type year, or hey, we've made improvements to AI and stuff like that. Like I really can see a heavy push for AI, especially in LG's point of view. Samsung is one of those kind of wild cards. I don't know what to expect every year. Like last year, I didn't really expect them to separate the QD OLED models. Like I only expected one, but it made sense because they did have two different, generations of QD OLED to sell. So this year they should be pretty much down to second generation. I'd imagine they don't have much first generation left, since they stopped manufacturing it last year, you know, in December. So it should be the case where most things are going to be second generation, of course, unless there is this third generation, which I haven't heard much of.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about it too. You even have like systems and PCs that are like the 4K 144 hertz. You don't even have consoles that even do that, or even games that even support that, let alone. So it's like the gaming area. Well, that's one thing they could improve on the gaming features on that side, but not like the 4K 144 hertz, but just overall they could probably make some enhancements there. But it's not like something that they should put themselves in different tiers of
Hmm.
the top and high tier and a low tier type situation. So I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm kind of curious of what's going to happen for next year's CES and stuff. So
Yeah. And like going back to LCDs, Classy made a really good comment here about brightness and how like it's harder to push, right? Because you do have blooming to worry about. So no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And Classy, we saw this last year or this year. We saw this year when we compare a TV like the S90C to the QN90C, and the S90C in more cases than not is brighter than the QN90C in most content and most scenes. Um, so it's a really good point here. Because I think the point that I was making more so like they can get brighter with LCDs is like the brightness numbers, right? It's like really easy to manufacture those and to have those high brightness numbers, and it really doesn't reflect in real content. And that's such a great point that you brought up, because that is one of the downsides, in my opinion, to something like the QN90C. Um, they do have this like really aggressive dimming algorithm where, I make this point a lot where let's take all right, let's just talk about Vegas since we're going to Vegas, since I'm going to Vegas next in like 2 or 3 weeks. Um Probably like 3 weeks. I don't even know. But let's say like you are watching a scene in Vegas, right? It's dark, but there's a lot of neon lights. An OLED TV will display that perfectly. No issues whatsoever. And an LCD TV, like the mini LED TVs that we're seeing now, the QN90C, it will struggle to show you that in the same manner, because you're not going to have the same degree of effect because you got them worrying about blooming in their dimming algorithm. So, in order to push that scene to you, they're going to have to dim down the lights. Like the neon lights are going to look a little bit like muted in comparison. Um, Otherwise, you're going to show some artifacts, some blooming artifacts, right? You're going to see the haloing off of lights, and that's going to be something that, depending on the company, are they going to suppress that like Samsung does? Sony doesn't really do that, but you will see a ton of blooming, right? And they're okay with that. They've even said like we're okay with you seeing blooming as long as you're seeing the intended brightness out of it and stuff. So there's different philosophies that people have with it, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Samsung changes that philosophy. I guess that would be another question to ask is like, is Samsung going to change the way that they do their dimming algorithms? It wouldn't be the first time that they've changed it, but um, as of late, it's been very tighter. It's been like favoring to crush details more so than not crush details, and I think that could be a problem for some people when looking at LCD versus OLED. And I think that's the biggest thing that people really need to get over is because you see the LCD has higher brightness numbers, you think automatically that's the brighter TV, but that wasn't the case this year. The S90C was better and brighter than the QN90C. So yeah, it's a really good comment from Classy. So
Yeah, I think the only thing is if you're looking for biggest size TVs, then yeah, that's the only route you could pretty much go. And that was the reason why I got my X95 K is because of the bigger TV. But but if you're in the range of 77, 75, well, excuse me, 77, yeah, or going down to like a 55, yeah, it's going to be QD OLED all day long.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but
And
if you're
like
going,
Andrew, oh no, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, but anything over that 77-inch, then yeah, it's like you have no choice but to go the LCD route.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they got like 100-inch now that what Hisense is doing,
yeah.
and people
Hmm. We
people
can talk
people
about
like that
that.
TV.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they even going even bigger than that. I think it's like 110-inch, depending on the region you're located at. So it seemed like, and it's being more affordable too. So those are kind of like the things that people may gravitate towards. That again, like projectors. I know a lot of people still like to get projectors, but some people just still like the whole TV route. And so those are kind of like the advantages that LCD TVs do have over QD OLED or WRGB OLED is because of those much bigger size TVs.
yeah. No, that's a good point. And we'll get into the Hisense and TCL in a little bit. But I wanted to bring this about blooming. It's going to be a non-issue, like Andrew saying. I find blooming to be a non-issue for most streaming content on mini LED. It's very noticeable if you have your TV in vivid though. And yeah, it's really going to depend on the modes that you're using, whether or not you're seeing blooming, but it really does depend on the TV as well and the TV manufacturer. Like I said, some are okay with showing you blooming in as long as it's going to give you the details that the picture is meant to have, right? Like Sony is okay with giving you a little bit of blooming as long as you're getting the details in the image. Samsung will crush details to favor you not seeing blooming, you know, and the other companies are a little bit more of a mix, but I would say they tend to all lean towards Samsung's crushing more so than not. So, and I think, you know, we go to the conversation of who's buying mini LED versus who's buying OLED. And the reason why people buy mini LED so much still is because when you look at it next to an OLED, it's hard to tell a difference. It is, unless you're looking at certain content where it's like, okay, OLED crushes this. It's so much fun. It's like so much better. Like I mentioned, if you see one of those neon lights, kind of scenes where there's a lot of neon lights, it's dark at night, you're gonna choose an OLED 100% of the time, always. Especially the newer OLEDs. When I bring up like QD OLED or an MLA OLED, that's what you're gonna choose because they're showing you like the scene that, and it can't be replicated on a mini LED TV. But people that see mini LED by itself, it's a non-issue, right? Like there's no problem at all with mini LED for most people. So that's why people are still buying mini LED, and that's why we're gonna keep hearing about it. Even Sony, you know, Sony is definitely invested in mini LED. In fact, you know, their latest reference monitor is going to be using mini LED. So They're very into mini LED, 4000 nit mini LEDs, things like that. It's gonna
Well,
be
we can
it's gonna be
start talking
interesting
about
to see.
Sony. Yeah,
Yeah,
we could
yeah.
talk about
We'll
Sony.
definitely transition into Sony. Let
Yeah,
me
because
hit
that's the
this real
question
quick.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is kind of before we move on to Sony, this is perfect for the discussion is Daniel, thank you for the super chat. He says, any 80 plus size QD OLEDs possible in 2024, do you think? I haven't heard anything. So like that's the weird part is I'm not hearing anything. There's no buzz, there's no rumors, there's no birdies in my ear, nothing like that saying anything about a 80 plus inch size OLED. However, we do see that other sizes are coming in QD OLED monitors, which kind of does leave some room on a mother glass for them to cut a bigger size OLED. I don't know if that's going to happen because that's not necessarily the case that it's automatically going to be reserved for that because it could just be more small size OLEDs being cut. Um, and so the fact that I haven't heard anything, I didn't hear anything last year about a possibility, you know, it seems like it's not on the horizon for 2024, if I had to guess. But I could be wrong and they'll surprise us at CES.
Yeah. Going back on that, I mean, they are making smaller size monitors because I
Mhm.
think they have in a 27-inch and even was that 32-inch? I think QD OLED. I think there was rumors of that or they announced that. So
Yeah.
it may be possible, but who knows?
Yeah. Nah, yeah. That was a great question though, and one that I was definitely meaning to talk about, but I totally forgot. Um, so let's go to Sony. Let's talk about Sony. And for the A80L, like what do I sorry, for the A80M, if that's what it's even called, we really don't have any confirmation on what Sony is going to be called yet. But
That's a
we
better
do know
naming
that
scheme now.
yeah,
Go for
we
the M
already
and not the
know
L.
we already know that the C4 is a thing. We already know that the 90D is going well, the D is going to be a thing. We didn't hear about the 90D, but we've seen QN90D specifications out there already. So that is a thing. So the D is being used for Samsung and the 4 is being used for LG. As far as Sony, we think it's going to be M. Like it's logical, go from L to M. Um, but you never know. So let's just assume it's M and it's the A80M. Am I expecting QD OLED to replace W OLED? I am not. I am not. I am not. I am not. And here's why. The Master Series A95L, whether they want to upgrade that to the M this year or not, it's going to be a thing that they're going to want people to look at and be like, ah, that has the best technology in it, the best picture quality possible. That's why I'm going to spend all that money on it. Otherwise, if you put QD OLED in an 80 series TV from Sony, you cannibalize that A95, the want for it, right? So it's a reason why people aren't buying an S95C over an S90C. Like I
Well,
think Samsung made a mistake by doing that.
well, they may do this, and just hear me out, because Sony did this before. So they may, let's just say that they do put the QD OLED technology on the 80M or whatever the case may be,
Okay.
but they may just do it with certain sizes. So let's
Okay.
just say that you remember on when they was doing it for
The
the
A75L.
A90J.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
or I was thinking about the A90 J and the
Yeah, yeah.
A80 J. You remember the 90J didn't come in a 77-inch. It only came in
Correct. Yep.
55, 65, and 83-inch. And then the A80L, excuse me, the A80J, I think it came in, what was it, all the way up to 77-inch? I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it had a 83-inch, but I know the A90J did come in at 83-inch, but it didn't come in at 77-inch. So maybe they might do the same thing if they put the technology, just put just certain sizes, and you have no choice but to go to the Master Series with a bigger size or whatever the case may be. I don't
Okay.
know. That's just what I'm thinking, but
I like that thinking actually. Like you have the 55-inch and 65-inch only in the A80L, or sorry, M, right? And then if you want the best of the best, then you go with the Master Series that's available in all those sizes that
all
you
those
need, right?
sizes.
Yeah.
And that's what Samsung
Uh
should have done.
right.
And then that would have made it more. Then a lot more people probably would have went with an S95C. Yeah, they're
That makes
saying like,
sense.
well, yeah, because the S90C, if they would have did the S90C didn't come in 77-inch and S95C came in 77-inch, you would have a lot more people going for that TV size.
That makes sense. That does make sense. And that's actually one of the things that we thought at CES. We're like, all right, so is the 77-inch S95C only exclusive to the S95C? And like that's what we thought for a while, and then we were corrected the next day. It's like, no, it's actually the same. It's the same panel and everything. It's like, all right, well, who's buying an S95C 77-inch over an S90C 77-inch if it's the same panel? Like
Yeah,
that's
they
the
shot on that one. They should have
yeah,
never done.
I feel like they kind of didn't think that one through a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see if they change that. We already kind of talked about Samsung, but like that's a good point about Sony. Um, maybe they could do something like that. And if they do that, let's say, maybe they'll go with like um the I don't know. I think if they go to QD OLED on the M, then they're gonna just drop W OLED completely. Like I don't see three different models of OLED, but I could be wrong, and because they still do have the 83-inch W OLED, for use. So it's
Yeah,
tough.
if you highlight JR, yeah, he's right. Yeah, so it was the A80J only came to up to 77-inch, and then A90J didn't come in 77-inch. You had to get the 83-inch. So it's 55, 65, and then 83, and then A80J was 55, 65, and 77-inch. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so they might do that. I mean, if they was gonna bring the QD technology to the 80 series, then that's what I would think they would do as a marketing
Yeah.
situation. Like saying like, well, if you really want the A80M QD OLED, you only get it up to 65-inch. And then for the A95M, you could get it in all sizes.
So Classy thinks maybe they can make a QD OLED for the M series, like, and make that just around 1,000 nit peaks, and then the Master series will go higher. It's possible. Um, I just don't know that they're going to do that because I feel like they want to reserve the best technology for their best TV. And that's just such a Sony way to think, right? Like Sony wants the Master Series to be the best technology available at their disposal. Now, that said, if say they really like MLA 2.0, if that's a thing. I'm not saying it's a thing. I don't know if it's a thing. There's just a rumor out there that's saying it can get to 3,000 nits, yada yada. I don't know. We'll see. But let's say that is a thing, right? And let's say Sony likes it better than QD OLED. And maybe getting that kind of panel with an MLA layer is going to be more affordable or just as affordable as getting a QD OLED. Maybe that's their master series this year is the MLA 2.0. Not saying like that'll happen because I think they like QD OLED and I think they don't like MLA. That's just speculation. I don't even have any like insight on that or anything. It just seems like they're not even thinking about MLA. It's like MLA is not even on their radar. But if MLA happened to impress them in like MLA 2.0 happened to impress them more than QD OLED, then yes, they could go to a master series of that. So if they did that, then they would give you reason to see a QD OLED in a lesser model. But if they don't do that, then I don't see QD OLED going to a lesser model. So it's a
Yeah.
good discussion, and I think nobody really knows, but they could go either way with that, I think.
Yeah, I think it comes down to how much can they save or what they could get the price for it. If they could get a good deal, then Sony can market it that way. But if not, if it's
Right.
going to be the same price as Samsung displays, then I think they're going to just stick with them and stuff. So because they're already using the technology and they're already used to it, they know what the limitations are and so forth. So who's to say?
Yeah. And like just to clarify this, Alan, the S89C in the US model, at least in the US, is a QD OLED. Like that's in the discussion. That's it. Like there's no going back on it. There's no W OLEDs of the S89C in the US. They're all QD OLED. So that's just what it is. And 77-inch S89C is the only thing that exists here. And that is again a QD OLED TV.
Yeah.
And of course, the second generation, since there's only a second generation 77-inch.
Yeah. And I was just going back on Sony. What else they could
Yeah,
possibly
yeah.
do?
Sorry.
Well, I don't know if they're going to do this, but if they could filter down the MediaTek, the Pentonic chip to all their models, I don't know if they still just going to limit it to just the A95. But that would be nice if all their TV lineups has that the newest chip for the SLC. But
Mhm.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that because it may be because it's still too expensive. But who that would be nice to see. I would like to see that, but I'm just
Yeah.
throwing it out there.
I don't expect too much to change. Like I think you might see some the newer chips. But again, remember the chip that they're using is still not for HDMI 2.1. And that seems to be okay with them. They're fine with that. A lot
Mhm.
of people are going to hate that. That's what it is on that, right? Um because it's
And
like
they know about it.
it's
And they know about
yeah,
it. They
they
laugh
know
about
about
it.
it. They know about it, and
They see the
they kind of
comments
hate it.
because
They kind of hate it.
w
Yeah.
yeah, we commented on it. They know. We talk about
Hmm.
it over and over again. So they know. They know
So
about that.
what's new for Sony in 2024? I guess is the biggest question. It might be a new processor. We've been talking about this. Like, is this gonna happen last year? And then I feel like it's time, man. Like if
Oh,
you
I've
look
been
at the
talking
way
about it last year.
they already rotate their processors. Like the way they do it, it's time. It's like where's the XR Extreme? You know, where's the implementation on top of it? Um, I know they had the XR Clear, but that wasn't like a brand on top of the brand. You know what I mean? That was more so like improvement within the processor. And
Mhm.
maybe that's the way they're gonna do it now. I don't know. And they're just gonna keep with the XR name to not confuse people. Um, but I want to see the XR Extreme or the XR whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would like to see a new processor. Uh, eh, yeah, I think they do for a new processor, but then
But do
again,
they need
no.
it? They don't really need it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
do they need it? But do they need it? Well, yes, because the thing is, when it comes to bit rate streaming, and I know for bigger size TVs like the 85-inch that I have, I
Hmm.
I do watch some SDR content. It would be great to see better updates and when it comes to resolution and when I'm looking at 1080p content because I still got Blu-ray TVs and there's still
Yeah.
streaming content that's only 1080p. So it's like I always like to see better picture when it comes to the processing. So yeah, they can make improvements with that. But does Sony need to do that? I mean, I think they will, but I think it just I don't know if it's going to be a new processor that
Yeah.
they're going to call it. But I would like to see that and stuff because it's just for me, just like when you get into bigger screen TVs, yeah, it looks good for 4K, no doubt about it. But when you look at that 1080p or 480p or SD, it's kind of like, ooh, it doesn't look all that great.
Yeah.
And then the
All
gaming
right.
features too, because I think Sony been doing really good with the updates and stuff like that for the gaming features. If they just continue doing that as well, that would
Yep.
be great for them for like all their TV lineups. For mini LED specifically,
Yeah.
I know people said there's rumors that I think it was from Caleb. He mentioned that Sony has something in the works for mini LED that they're going to address a lot of the issues that people were complaining about when it comes to zones and so forth. So, who's to say that Sony got something up their sleeves for the mini LED TVs for next year that may, you know, put everybody to rest? Who's to say? I want to hold
Yeah.
my breath, but we'll see and stuff.
Right.
But that's something that I'm interested in seeing. I wonder if they're gonna have bigger size TVs in the mini LED realm. Those are kind of like questions that I have. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. We should probably not even talk about Sony because they're not even going to be like a thing really at CES. It
Yeah,
is worth talking about them for like 2024 outlook. But yeah, I think mini LED could be a big emphasis for Sony, especially since that's their reference monitor now, and yeah, I could see them making a big splash there. All right, so let's move on to TCL and Hisense real quick, and then kind of take people's questions, and then we can kind of like open it up to discussion, and then we'll wrap there. I don't know how long you got. Probably thinking
oh
about
yeah, no,
going
I'm
maybe
good.
like okay, 15, 20 more minutes, something like that is what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Um, so we'll do Hisense and TCL, and I'll have to say, like, when it comes down to this, like, I was so impressed with the Hisense U8 like this year. My goodness, what an improvement. Like, what an improvement over the U8G that I saw 2 years ago. Like, I don't even know like exactly like how you can improve a TV so much in 2 years, but they did it. And I know the U8H was a big improvement as well over the U8G, but this is even more of an improvement. So, yeah, props to them. They're doing a lot. They still are kind of behind when it comes down to processing. You still see like little weird things, especially with motion in mind. Like, I'll see
That's my
like the
biggest issue.
ticker. Yeah, I'll see like a ticker for sports, and then like the letters that are just above the ticker are like really blurry and odd looking. It's like, that's something they can improve. There's
And then the
things just
artifacts too.
yep. There's artifacts within processing, there's artifacts within motion. So those things are needing to be improved. But man, you are getting so close to like Samsung quality. With some of the picture quality that you're getting out of this Hisense TVs and TCL as well. You know, I would say that out of the box, the Hisense looked better than the TCL. The TCL was a little odd looking out of the box, to be honest with you. Um, I was impressed though with the way that it handled the black levels. The TCL was pretty good in that regard, and so was the Hisense and the black bar algorithm for the TCL. And for the Hisense, I would say Hisense is doing a really good job at listening to critics on that. Because man, I bashed them to like on the UAG. I was like, man, I cannot watch this TV, like at night with movies. Really good,
Oh no,
like
they
really
fixed it
big
last year.
improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Okay.
no issues. Really,
Yeah.
I didn't have no big issues with that. I think for the price for it, I think it was solid. So, and you know what? Even the crazy thing too is, with uh at Best Buy now, they both now Hisense and TCL have their own displays now. It's not next to Sony or anything, but now that they have it on the wall that people could see it. And so I think that's kind of interesting that they're trying to make this stuff more known with their presence. So let's just hopefully they just keep it up for next year and just keep making those improvements.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Really good point. All right. So we saw the biggest thing this year was like, hey, you can get 100-inch TV for $3,000, for $2,000. It's like, what? What are we doing? Like that is crazy. So to think about that is like, man, if I had space, I'd get that TV. Like I'd have a U8K. Like I would have a 100-inch U8K. Like that would happen if I had space, you know? but I don't have space for it, so I don't have it. But man, it is such a good thing to see because they're pushing consumers to like see what good TVs they make and everything. So that's great, right? Like TCL and Hisense, they deserve to be on the map. They're making improvements to their TV year in year out. And they're stealing market share. They're stealing market share, man. I'm not telling you, like,
That
watch
price is
out.
crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna get better. I know that they're going to get better because I've heard about the improvements they're trying to make to processing, and they're making investments in research and development into things like that. So 100-inch TVs for that price with that picture quality, that's something else, man. Um, and so I I, I asked the question to you. It's like I'm not buying a flagship if I can fit it when I can get a
Yeah.
100-inch U8K. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna buy like a Sony 75-inch or a 100-inch Hisense, you know, if you can fit it, why would you get the Sony? Like I love Sony, and I think Sony makes really good TVs, and I still think they probably have some of the best looking picture quality in regards to their processing. But man, you got the immersion of a 100-inch TV. It's hard to swat that away.
Yeah, because I'm even thinking about people who have short throw projectors. Yeah, are probably even kicking themselves because the short throw projectors are really good, but you still have to get the screen and so forth. And then you still have to put it, like a certain distance. So seeing TCL and Hisense come out with like 100-inch screen TV, because I think short throw projectors, what they go up to 100. I don't know what their sizing is, so don't quote me on this. I know it goes over
Mm-hmm.
110 inches, but it may go like 120. But they could get really expensive for the short throw projectors, and just like now you got TCL and Hisense in that ballpark of over 100-inch. That's
Yeah,
that that's something that people may be going for now than of short throw projectors, because it's like a short throw projector is like you have to put a lot of investment when it comes to displays, the type of screen you get,
facts.
the gain you need to get, and I don't know. I don't think people really want to invest in all of that. So
Yeah. No, I mean, um, I don't think so either. That's a good point. So we
yeah, because you
got
had do you have a short throw projector too?
I have one.
The,
Yeah,
yeah,
I have one. I'm reviewing it right now. It's from AWOL Vision. I like it a lot. I think it's really cool.
yeah.
The fact that, I got a 150 or 120-inch screen just like right there at my disposal, just and it's floor rising too. Like I think that's really cool. Um, it does beg the question though, like are people going to want to spend that much money on something like that when you can get a TV? But it is bulky, it is big. So yeah, and then FOMO chiming in with the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. 110-inch Hisense will blow up the market in 2024. And yeah, I think like that 110-inch UX, man. Yeah, that's something else. I don't know what they're gonna call it, but I saw it at CES last year, and it was 8K, I believe. Now it's 4K, maybe. We don't have even confirmation on that. But I'll tell you what, when I saw this TV at CES with FOMO, I was like, "This is the best looking TV here." I was like, "This is the best looking TV here." That
That's saying a lot.
110-inch Hisense
Yeah.
UX, it was like the best looking TV. So yeah, I liked it a lot. Um, and I agree. Like, I don't know what the price on this will be, but it's going to be nice. And then TCL, we talk about TCL. They have that like 5,000 dimming zone TV still. I don't know if that's coming to the US or not. Um, but we heard about it. So that'd be interesting. TCL has a lot of market share now. They have really good TVs for cheap. I like that. The QM8 was a really great step in the right direction, I think, for them. It was basically, a better 6 series. It's kind of like what it was, right? Like it was a better 6 series. And it's right there with the U8. And I think like the QM8 did suffer from one problem, and then that would be that it wasn't available in 55 inches, and it was weird to see that in that price bracket. Weird. was weird to see that, because I feel like they missed out on some 55-inch market share. Now, they don't make a lot of profit on 55-inch TVs though, so that's probably why they didn't do that, and that's another thing I'm gonna be watching for this year is more companies going to be cutting 55 inches, because it's
Yeah,
not
because not.
making them that much money.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that 55-inch used to be a really big size screen TV back in the day, and now it's like now it's not. That's the smaller size TV, which is crazy to
Yeah.
even talk about that nowadays. Because everybody now like the 55, like 65 is the new 55-inch, which is crazy to hear. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. All right. Well, we can open this up to some questions. Let's get some questions, guys. Ask your questions. It doesn't have to be about CES. It could be like pretty much any question, and I'll try to answer it. Max will try to answer it. But yeah, leave a question. Put it in the chat so I could see it. Make sure you got a question mark on it somewhere. And then if you guys want to like make sure that it's answered like right away, you could do a super chat, though that is not required, but it does help out the channel if you do end up doing that. So I thank those that do it, but if not, no worries. I will still answer the question.
Well, actually, you know what? I was just thinking about something we could talk about. People was talking about LG OLED 8K TVs. So I wonder if they gonna start going down in price. I mean, it should, because now you
Hmm.
have these other manufacturers are making over 100 inch screen TVs. That's kind of like another question because what they still going for like 20 something thousand, 22,
What are you talking about?
something crazy. I'm talking about the LG TVs, LG OLED, the 8K TV. I think
Oh
it's still
yeah, so that's just
2000,
way too expensive to make, man. That's not coming down.
but
Um,
that's what they should be thinking
yeah,
about. For LG is like
it's just
thinking
so
about bigger
expensive.
sizes and bigger sizes, but make them more affordable because yeah, LCD TVs are killing that market.
So the problem with that is if they did that, they would like have to make it 4K, right? Because 8K is not gonna work for that. It just takes way too much power. You got way too many pixels to drive in that sense. But if they do it with 4K, they then run into a problem a little bit too. So I don't know, man. We see the 97-inch OLEDs. From what I've heard, they kind of have this screen door effect where it's like pixels are, still really nice, but it's too large for like you're getting like really soft image. And you kind of get that, as well with any TV, but it's just like you expect a sharp picture from an OLED TV. So if you're getting any sort of fuzziness, it's kind of a downside. So where it's like if you see a fuzziness on an LCD, you're like, all right, it's an LCD. I kind of expect fuzziness. You know what I mean? You don't really
Yeah,
expect fuzziness with like an OLED. So I think that's a big problem. Power is also a huge issue. Like I think, it costs like $30,000 for a 97-inch M series OLED right
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Well,
It's
just
pretty
throwing the
pricey.
idea. Yeah, just throwing the
Yeah, no,
idea out there,
I think
LG.
yeah. I think if they could do it, that'd be really cool, but um I don't know how they would drive it. Like it would be very expensive for them to do all that. Uh, I had a question for about colors of bezels. Um, will TVs ever have purple or pink bezels? It's funny you asked this because the Samsung frame has customizable, bezels. You can have like little wood bezels. So I'm sure you can have like different colored bezels from there as well. So if that's the case, you just want a cool looking TV with purple or pink bezels, then I would try to look at the frame. Worst case scenario is you get the white bezel and you paint it and then put it on there because they have customizable bezels. So
Actually, the frame is actually really popular with a lot of people.
yeah,
So, yeah, you might be onto something with that. So, yeah, that would be interesting if they do that. But
yeah.
it seemed like
I like the
it.
frame.
Yeah, that's one thing that I will say that a lot of people are. They probably selling a lot of those TVs because
Oh yeah,
I know it's just the thing is that you have to please the whole household, and so you may
yeah,
have some people want to have that as like some type of picture frame, and low key being a TV. So I think it's a great idea what Samsung did. I know Samsung wasn't the first ones to do it, but it's just great that they continue to do that. But it would be nice
yeah,
if
yeah,
other manufacturers had something of a similar option.
yeah. The thing about the frame is like you are definitely paying more for lesser picture quality, but it's very unique in the way that the screen coating is a nice matte finish. It looks very good. Um, but again, it's basically a Q80C. Sorry, Q70C. Yeah, it's very similar to a Q70C. So, and you're paying more than a Q70C for it.
Yeah, yeah, that's like the only thing. You paying more for the aesthetics than the picture, and you get people that just don't care about the picture. They just look for the look of it.
Yeah. This is a good question, Tom. So, like, what do you lose with the S89C compared to the S90C besides the stand change? Hasn't really been any like test done or confirmation, but it seems to have the same audio and everything. Like, so it's really just it seems to be the stand. So it's really I don't know, maybe they just like ran out of like the base plate and they're like, all right, we don't have any more base plates for this. Here you go, Best Buy, you want to buy the rest? Maybe that's how that happened. I don't know. But that seems to be the only biggest difference is it's the same stand as the S90C, except for there's no base plate that goes over top of those duck feet. That's what I'm calling them because that's what they look like.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's see. Is there any questions? Make sure you guys ask questions. So we can answer some. Another question about the S89C. What do y'all think of the S89C? I like it a lot. It's basically an S90C, 77-inch. I say get it. Save some money. If you're looking at the S90C and 77-inch, just get the S89C.
yeah.
That's what I would do.
Just say some. Yeah, save some money.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. The only thing I could just think of, somebody asked about, does anybody use TV speakers?
Yeah, a
I
lot of
think
people
that
do
could.
actually.
Yeah.
I
No,
would
I
say
mean that's
about I'll say about 90% of people use TV speakers
yeah.
unfortunately, but like that's just how it is.
Will they
It's
improve on
crazy.
it?
That's why I talk about it, like and that's a good question, Max. Like will they just improve them? Will they keep improving them? And I think some companies are going the route of like I'm gonna give you the worst speakers possible so you want to get soundbar.
Yeah.
And then other companies are like, yeah, we're gonna put a lot into our speakers. Hisense did a really good job, man. That U8, I don't know. Like as soon as I turned on the TV, I was scared because it was like, this is loud. Why is it so loud? It scared me out of nowhere. It just came on the volume. It was like, I was like, whoa, that's some speakers. So for that price, they have some really good TV speakers. I like the U8 speakers a lot. I like the S90C speakers a lot. I don't think they're the bassiest. I don't think they're like the S95B, nothing like that, but they're good dialogue speakers, man. Like they sound good. Um, the S95C, same thing. There's really good dialogue speakers, but definitely way less bass than the S90C, which is surprising. Um, and definitely more than less bass than the S95B. G3 was a utter disappointment in the speakers. I don't know what they were thinking with those. That could be a software thing too. Not even really sure. But I thought the C3 speakers were better than the G3 speakers, but those weren't anything to write home about either. So far, like Sony seems to be the ones that are like Sony OLEDs. I don't even want to say they're LCDs because I've heard some things about their LCD speakers. Um, but like the OLEDs definitely have good speakers. What do you think of the speakers on your Sony LCD?
They're okay. I don't know. I mean,
They're okay.
Yeah, well, I I'm into sound, so it's is
Yeah.
for me. Well, I take it 2 different ways. So if you talking about like if I'm using my TV for the bedroom, yeah, they are perfect. They perfectly fine and good. I like the 890. I still got the 890J. I think it's good. I even have the
Yeah.
A9F. And I think it's really good TV speakers. But I mean, but the TV speakers, that's just I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
they make it better, but it's no way that it's gonna compare against a sound bar or because sound bar gonna sound better than TV speakers. And then in my opinion, I mean, well, it
Depends on the
is
soundbar.
yeah, depends on the sound bar, but I mean,
Yeah.
surround sound speakers are gonna sound better than a sound bar and TV speakers. So it's like in the basement, I got surround sound. So I, I mean, it's okay
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I think it depends on your use case scenario. Some people just can't rock a surround sound system, and they have to depend on TV speakers. So I think it's great that they keep making improvements. I want them to continue to do that. But if you could get a sound bar with it, I kind of will push that route, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you could fit it, and that's kind of like
Mhm.
the other question too. Like if you don't have the room to fit it, then yeah, TV speakers are adequate depending on which brand you go with and stuff. So I always thought that Sony did a good job with their speakers, with the OLED, QD OLED specifically, because of how they use their screen, as
Yeah.
the acoustics and stuff like that. So and Samsung does an
Yeah.
okay job too and stuff. So
Right. Yeah, it's a good question from Lisa B. Thank you for the super chat. Which is the way of the future, soundbar or AVR? And I think this is a tricky question because you could. It just really depends on what you like. I ultimately like how you want to set up your speaker system. Like some people don't like wires, things like that, and there's a lot that goes into setting up an AVR system, right? You need
oh yeah,
multiple
yeah,
sets of things, and
yeah. There's a
you
lot
need
of that goes in
professionals
that
to do
factor.
it. Yeah, you need professionals to do it, in order for it to sound good. Otherwise, you can be making some dire mistakes and end up having lesser results than what you paid for. So I think more people are gonna be pushed towards soundbar. That's just what it is. I think more people are more comfortable with soundbars, so I do think that's the way of the future. I think you're gonna see companies put more into soundbar research and development. It's just more practical for most people. And I think when you look at the way that the housing market is right now, a lot of people are getting pushed into condominiums and townhomes and things that would kind of result in you not being able to have an awesome AVR setup, right? And so I'm thinking of like the average person buying a house or renting a house right now might not be able to get the space between their neighbors as they would like. Even houses, even houses are starting to be pushed further together. And when you have that happening, you have neighbors complaining, you have homeowner associations to worry about, especially in those really nice neighborhoods. Like you have HOA all over your back on stuff like that. And one of the reasons why, you know, I can't have a system is because of like HOA things. And I have gotten complaints one time where like, oh look, you're cranking that up a little bit too loud. So I was like, all right, fine. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
I
the
had
thing.
that same issue.
It's like limitations, right? Like you have
Yeah.
limitations, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had the same issue when I was in the condo. That was, like, the main reason why I was like, "I'm never gonna do a condo unless I absolutely have to," but that's why I ended up just getting a single family house, and, yeah, I could do whatever I want with the house, and and so that's I for me, it's always been, ABR for my opinion, but like I said, it all depends on the use case because it's like if you're in a condo or apartment or a townhouse, yeah, you can't do stuff like that unless want to pay a certain amount of money to get your wall treated, insulated, so soundproof and all that other stuff, and that's kind of like a whole nother topic on its own too. And I don't think a lot of people want to go that route and stuff. But I mean, it's possible, and then you could do that. But yeah, I think sound bars will probably might be better.
I had to laugh at this. I didn't take this one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What if you wear this FOMO? I will definitely have to take a picture with you on that one, man.
And not only that, if
Man.
you
With the
gotta
gloves too. With the gloves.
not just that, no, but he has to throw in the cane too. You have to throw in the cane,
Oh
and you
yeah,
have to
yeah.
have the hat with it.
Pimp FOMO. Now I got that image in my mind, and it's
I can
not
see it
going
happening
away.
too. I
It's
can see
not
it
going
happening too.
away.
And then he had the gloves over his little cane too, as he walked it to the people.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think. Any more questions, guys? I mean, like, there's a definitely. I think I've hit on a lot of the points that I've wanted to make with CES in mind, and like what I expect out of CES. I don't expect groundbreaking technology this year, but I do expect a lot of improvements with processing, and I think that's actually makes me more excited than technology, believe it or not. Why? Because I see things that Sony's doing, and I'm like, if other companies can like step their game up and get to that level, and that just drives more competition, and LG definitely needs that, right? Like I think LG desperately needs improvements to processing. We have posterization issues, like, color banding, same thing, right? Those two things are the same thing. But like for you to understand one of those two things, like it's just blockiness within your colors, and it's ugly. And that happens in gaming for LG, and other TVs clean it up much better. And so like I'd love to see LG improve on that. I'd love to see them improve on colors in game mode. Like, why don't you give me the same colors as outside of game mode, LG, please? Um, that would be nice. Then I would have to stop talking about it. And then, of course, like, just let us use the peak brightness in SDR. But I don't think that's a processing thing. I think that's just like what they choose to do. So I don't expect that to change. But yeah, I mean, like, there is definitely some things that I want to see change. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. And if they can make it cheaper, I think that would be
Hmm.
great as well too. But they're not gonna really talk about pricing at CES, so who's to say?
Yeah. I think LG is going to make the biggest bang at CES. That's my prediction. I think LG makes the biggest bang at CES. I think they make the biggest noise. They're going to get the most hype out of CES. And I think it's going to have to do with their processing, more so just the marketing and stuff. Um, but if they end up showing that MLA, second generation, hey, we got this TV to be brighter, I could see a lot of hype coming from that. So, um, I expected the same thing last year. I was like, LG is going to knock it out of the park at CES. And they usually do such a good job with their display presentation, especially at the event, man. They got like see-through OLED TVs and stuff on display. They got this big old like water fountain OLED display thing. It's crazy. Like CES, they knock it out of the park at CES. So I expect LG to do that again. And of course, they have their gaming monitors that are going to be available as well. But yeah, I expect LG to do like a really good job with CES. If that translates into like winning the year, I doubt it, because I still think they're going to have to do a lot to top QD OLED. But hey, if MLA is actually going to get to 3000 nits, I think people might take some of the downsides and take that extra brightness if it comes at the right places, right? Because I mean, brightness can really sell people. It really can.
Yeah,
Like, if you
yeah.
can get certain highlights to just pop more than others, you have a selling point right there. And I might be one of those customers if it's done right, So I hope LG improves more than anybody else because they need to. Because I'm sick of saying like I don't hate LG, okay? I promise I don't. So
Yeah, and I
it'd be
was just
nice to
gonna
not.
say too. Yeah, because they I don't think they're gonna let that technology go anytime soon. So whatever they could possibly do to make it better, I don't know what it would be. I mean, the MLA is supposed to be something, so hopefully it does something.
Yep. All right. Doesn't seem to be too many questions, so we're gonna just pop out of here and hit the like button on the way out if you guys enjoyed the stream, and if you have questions and you just forgot to answer them, like put them in the comments. That'd be nice. Real quick, let me answer this question. Can anybody attend CES? You can, but you have to pay money and you have to be affiliated with the tech industry in some way. If you're a media member, it's not, you don't have to pay anything, but you have to meet the media credentials um, in order to go. So most of the people going to CES either they have like a news outlet that they write for, or they have a channel that they do tech stuff for. And it's not just TVs. Remember, it's like everything. It's literally everything. It's not just technology products. It's not just consumer products. It's software based things. It's, a lot of coding stuff involved, audio, um, behind the scenes, just a ton of things. So like if you work anytime like in the tech industry, chances are you can go if you're in the tech industry. But yeah, I'm only able to go because my channel is big enough to go, I guess. And I'm grateful for that. So I thank you guys for allowing me to have that platform in order to go to CES and attend and be able to hang out with people like FOMO and Brian and Brandon. It's gonna be a blast, man. I'm looking forward to it. TKK is gonna be there. Hopefully, you get to meet him because he reached out to me. So yeah, like hopefully it'll be fun and I can meet more people. Last year I met Tech Steve for the first time. He's a really cool dude. And of course I met Caleb and David Katzmeyer. Looking forward to seeing them again, especially Caleb. Caleb's an awesome dude. Um, yeah, man. CS is going to be a blast. I'm going to have more coverage going forward. Check out FOMO's stream tomorrow. I believe he's going to be on with Brian, and they're going to be talking about TCL and Hisense, I think. So, yeah, check them out. And make sure you tune into CES to see FOMO in a pimp suit.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you was talking about the electronic underwear with AI coding.
Nope. I'm out. I'm out. It's like the Shark Tank thing. It's like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not investing in that. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks Max for joining. And
All right, appreciate it.
take it easy, guys. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and have a good one.
All right, take care.
Peace.